Hey guys, it's your coach Eero here. So one of the things nowadays that is, pops out always, are these highlight reels of people doing really flashy stunts. They're very cool looking skills. They're it's like huge lifting, right? And this kind of stuff. And what I think often happens from this is because these are people that are usually people look up to these people. They have a lot of following. And of course, they want to post the stunts and everything because that's what gets views and this is what people admire. But it also creates a certain, I think, something that's just a little bit of an illusory thing. Because these things, these stunts and lifts, now people see that this is what is actually the highest level of performance. And this is what is actually useful and practical in real life situation when this is not the case at all. And these things, being able to lift like a couple of times super heavy, or maybe you do some sort of gymnastic skill or something like this way. When it comes to actually real world and practical performance, these things matter very little without strength endurance. So strength endurance, I'm trying to explain it, that's kind of your ability to sustain amount of tension in your muscles for a longer duration of time. But I like to say being able to sustain yourself under physical stress for longer periods of time. So look at almost any sport you can think of: tennis, football, soccer, martial arts, ice hockey, dancing. All of these athletes there possess strength endurance because it's probably the most functional form of strength that you can possess in these sort of applications. Now, of course, having the ability to do like a lift heavy can be useful. If you need to lift a heavy object in the real life, then it's useful. But it's such a small part of actually what consists of this practical thing. And so if you only possess this sort of maximal strength performance or this sort of skill strength performance, you're missing like a massive chunk of what could be. And many of these people, it's not like each one of these people that I'm talking about here that they wouldn't have endurance at all. But most likely, most of them don't have it. Why? Because they don't understand it. First of all, they don't see the applications. There's nothing that they need to use it. They don't do a sport or something like this. And another thing is that you can usually see from people's physique what they're actually capable of doing, and a certain kind of bloat and unnecessary mass. It could be bodybuilders an extreme example, but you can usually see that these guys wouldn't last very long when it comes to this sort of strength endurance type of competitions. And another thing is these people tend to have these phrases like cardio kills your gains. So from this, you can usually kind of think that it's not very important for them. They don't understand it and they don't have it also. So they're missing this huge part, but at the same time they're acting like they're all tough guys. Like, yeah, I got the thing. But you put that guy into, let's say, an MMA, and well, this is a good example because I started the MMA like in the beginning of the year, and very quickly noticed that my strength that I had was like nowhere near enough in there when I started. And I still had I had some endurance there. I had some endurance training, but still, I was out of breath. I couldn't hold my hands up. I noticed that I didn't like to make an explosive kick. I couldn't sustain that energy to do those kicks anymore. I lacked power and everything, And this is what happens. And there were guys who were more explosive than me, a little bit bigger than me too. They got tired even faster than I did. So it's not only that you get out of breath, it's also that you just can't even maintain like a certain composure. You can't keep your hands up because your muscles are tired. You can't maintain the tension for a long period of time because the only thing that you know about tension is doing this. Actually, it's not even this. It's something like this way. This is a bad example maybe, but this is how it is. So the strength endurance is completely neglected, while it is probably the most important form of strength in any sort of real life practical situation. So don't get too caught up in these highlight reels. I know it is tempting, and like I said, there are value to these things, but it is such a small thing. So if you want to be well-rounded, if you want to have this complete performance, then you need to do the strength endurance. And one of the things that I also want to mention here is that strength endurance training is actually one of the toughest and most painful form of training that you can actually do. And this is also the reason why many avoid it. Because, well, like I personally haven't experienced anything more suffocating. Like my own conditioning routines that are, for example, the new program, Warrior 20XX, like this kind of agony, because you really need to push yourself. But even compared to that, like the MMA, for example, extremely suffocating. You're there, and if you don't like get out of breath yourself, somebody's gonna try and strangle you anyway. So it's like this actually requires such mental toughness that most people don't want to do. Because it's very easy to do this sort of couple of heavy lifts. It's just like and that's it. That's it. But try to sustain energy for minute after minute and rep after rep after rep, you know, and you're like, you just can't get the air in and you're stressing out. This is a very hard form of training. So the thing is that it actually grows you mentally a lot. So not only are you missing chunk of your physique, but you're also missing a huge chunk of actually from mental toughness, from mental strength. So that's pretty much all I want to say in this video. You know, the one more thing is actually that like I said, the Warrior 20X, I mentioned this, we just released this new program. This is basically, it is conditioning training, it is focused on strength endurance. These are super high intensity routines. If they're follow along workouts, so I'm there, I do the whole workout with you from, you know, each round, from the beginning to the end. I'm there kind of pushing you and showing it, I wanted this program to be something where I set an example of what it is to push yourself and how to do it. So if you got interested in that, make sure you check out the website, it's thewarrior20xx.com, and well, we'll see you over there. But other than that, see you in the next video. Yeah!